Holy empty draws. This is Flight Check Season 4, Episode 24. We're back once again, talking all aspects of FlyQuest, and particularly tonight, Worlds. But plenty of other FlyQuest material to cover tonight. All kinds of exciting stuff going on in the FlyQuest sphere. My name, as always, is Sandy Toes. To my left and my extra left, my fellow hosts, Noxwar and Curly Double Q. Fellas, Swiss stage rolls forward. Two teams already into quarters. Today, we had our annual traditional EU third seed knockout match. This was meant to be.
Yep.
And
every time.
Could have predicted it. In fact, I should have changed my predictions to GAM 2-1. I saw the signs.
Curly here was the only one between the three of us that did predict GAM, so if anything, props to Curly.
Hey.
Yeah, I mean, I've told you from the get-go to believe this team. I don't know what it takes for you to get it.
Some of us are just gifted with that blessing of foresight,
I think the other thing in my head, my logical train of thought was like, okay, so Mad beat PSG in play-ins, right? 2-1.
Sure.
And then it was like, okay, I consider PSG to be better than GAM, so therefore Mad Lions should be better than GAM. And so the best of one comes along, and it shatters my faith a little bit, but at the same time, it's
scissors with it is what you did.
Yeah, it's a best of one. It can happen. On top of the fact that in the play-ins match, they lost the very first game to PSG before winning the next two. So in my head, I was like, it's fine. They're still theoretically the better team than PSG.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to GAM, like, they should be able to wrap it up just fine. No.
Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Why would you approach this with logical thinking?
That's totally my...
Honestly, that was your first mistake, wasn't it?
The three of us actually represent the different, and I'm failing my English classes right now, but Curly is clearly pathos. I feel like I'm very logos, and then Sandy is perfectly ethos. I don't know. I've done the three of those very, very well.
That's a fantastic pull. Well done.
Honestly.
Wow, that's really, really good. I like that.
We've got our bases covered.
We have intelligence up in here. I like it.
Well, so far, World has been interesting. We've had a few little upsets here and there. Nothing so major. I think to some people, Mad falling out, tied for 15th, not a huge surprise. Obviously, Pain, them making it through was to Swiss initially was a surprise. Them falling out, tied with Mad for 15th, not a surprise. But a couple other small ones. But I do want to ask you two, and then I'll follow up with my own, and we can start with Curly. But I want to know your one big thing. One of our long-serving segments here on the show. One big thing from Swiss so far. We've got 3 days left. I'm sorry, that's incorrect. We have 4 days remaining. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday, yeah. 9
matches of best of threes, which frankly, I forgot how good that is.
It's going to be great.
9 best of threes to determine who's going to quarters. That feels so much better as a Worlds format.
It is so much better. It's just so good.
So much cleaner.
Top tier, really.
At the minimum, FlyQuest will still play... they'll play at the minimum 7 games. So they could go 2-5, but they'll have played 1 game more than they would have in a normal double round robin group stage. And we'll talk about the draws in a bit. But Curly, your one big thing, your big takeaway so far from World Swiss.
I think my one big thing has to be the surprise dissension of the LPL, particularly BLG. Because you have naturally LCK, LPL being the first ones to qualify makes perfect sense. Gen G being one of them also makes perfect sense. A lot of people could predict that. I'm sure many people crystal balled that. But with how the LPL was shaken out, especially with all the scout stuff, LNG being the second team to make it out so quickly, a little bit surprising. And then everyone's like, oh yeah, that BLG, we're real hot on them. And the only people they've beaten so far are freaking Mad Lions, who are out of the tournament. And now they're just like the surprise raid boss in the elimination bracket. And like, if PSG magically turn it on, like they did, granted, they also only beat Mad Lions, so they both have the same homework. But like if they turn it on, that would be the craziest upset. Now, do I think it's going to happen? Very unlikely. But it's just very interesting how everything has panned out. Yeah. And then also again with Weibo Gaming, they're just kind of literally up and down. It's a tough time for the LPL right now.
No, I think, yeah, definitely weird stuff. LNG, qualifying, being the first LPL team to qualify to quarters. Weibo, fraudulent, as I called out a few weeks ago, 1-2, and frankly, would not be shocked if Fnatic pulls it out of their butt and beats them on Saturday, which, would open up a quarterfinal spot for a Western team. Fnatic, you know what to do. It's your time to shine. This is your opportunity. Okay, well, actually, hang on. Before we get to Nox's one big thing, to you guys, which would be the crazier upset? Fnatic beats Weibo or PSG beats BLG? Just based on the way...
PSG beats BLG.
Even with the way BLG... Like, Weibo is performing probably about how we expected. BLG, not. So is PSG beating them still that surprising of an upset if it happens?
I'd say so, because it's just kind of like the final huge nail in a very unfortunate coffin. Like, if you tank and get knocked out by PSG as the LPL first seed, I think from my experience of watching Worlds, that might be the most embarrassing run from the region ever. Like, the most hugest fall from grace.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
I'm gonna have to agree. It would be like China's number one. Like, this is a team coming into the tournament was like one of the favorites to win the whole thing. If you get knocked out by PCS number one PSG, yeah, it's just far and away like the biggest upset. Like Fnatic beating Weibo is huge, especially with the performance levels that Fnatic is showing right now. But like in terms of the grand scale of things and how this tournament is structured in the power rankings and so on and so forth, there's no way. Like, as good as PSG is, because I do have a lot of respect for this team, BLG is just expected to be that many tiers higher than them, and so that loss is just inconceivable in my opinion. So sorry PSG, you bit the wrong bullet, and you're probably going home, or you're about to set the most amazing upset in world's history in my opinion.
I will actually say the way Fnatic have been playing, unironically, I might say it's Fnatic if Fnatic beats Weibo. Like,
really, because of how they've been playing,
because of how bad Fnatic has looked, to me at least.
Okay.
If they were to beat Weibo, that would be a bigger shock to me than PSG beating BLG.
You know what? I can totally see that take. I understand that. Like, if you, at the level they've been playing at, they suddenly beat Weibo. Yeah, no, okay. I actually totally agree with that. I still think I side with BLG being the bigger one, but I totally get it.
Yeah, I think how about this? In the eyes of the public, I think BLG losing would be absolutely an insane thing to bet on. But for us enlightened souls,
be changing my pick'ems
with us, with us embodying pathos, logos, and ethos. We can see through. We see through the lies of the Jedi. Wow, we're dropping all kinds of references tonight. All right, Nox, gonna bring it to you. Your one big thing now, please.
I think, and maybe this is more of a personalized thing, but I was not overly high on G2 coming in. Don't get me wrong, I still thought they were the best Western team coming into Worlds. But watching them play versus HLE and Weibo really kind of cemented to me, like, okay, no, they are still kind of that team a little bit. Like, they lost to HLE, they weren't able to close it out, but HLE is, like, again, like, because in my opinion, it was Genji, HLE, and BLG as, like, the three teams that I really have, like, hey, you are the favorites to win this whole thing. And so the way G2 was hanging in there and really pushing HLE, I was like, okay, no, this is like 2019 G2 vibes a little bit. You're not quite able to clutch it out, but I think in general, I'm just genuinely impressed with how good G2 looks, especially with how weak of a region Europe is. We used to be saying, like, oh, Europe's probably like a 2 or 3 team region, like super weak. No, it's straight just a 1 team region. Fnatic is not on the same level as G2. And so for a team that does not have any really good local competition, the fact that they're able to put up this level of performance against, like, top tier Asian teams that are predicted to win the whole tournament, I was genuinely surprised and very happy to see that they can actually still put up a good fight against these teams.
Do you have them right now? They play Friday, T1, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Do you think they'll beat T1?
I actually think they will. I think it'll be a 2-1.
I think there's a good shot. I think it'd be a 2-1, but I think there's a good shot.
Whoa.
I will. You will see it on my pick'ems.
Whoa.
I think I'm leaning, unless there's something that pops up about, like, one of the players getting sick in the next coming days, because G2 suddenly seems to always have illnesses pop up for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Anyway, but unless I see something like that, I feel extremely confident. Well, not.
Whoa!
Sorry. No.
Extremely confident.
This man is sending it.
I do feel confident enough to predict G2 to take this series against T1 in 2-1 fashion. I do not feel extremely confident. Sorry, that just flew out of my mouth. So yeah.
Dang.
Little Freudian slip
very
there.
interesting.
Little Freudian slip, yeah.
Curly,
what's your big thing?
Well, I was gonna ask Curly, do you have G2 taking down T1 on Friday?
I believe I have T1 taking down G2.
I think, I don't know. It's hard for me to bet against Faker, man. It's hard. I don't know what it is, but hard for me to bet against Faker.
See, okay. Did y'all hear the little tangent that Jat went on? I want to say it was with, it wasn't Vedius. It was one of the Dagda. I think it was with Dagda. But basically, it was Dagda, Raz, and Jat, and basically they were all predicting T1 to win.
Yeah.
Or they were all predicting TES to win, rather. And Jat was like, no. Jat was the only one. He's like, it's Faker at Worlds, man. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, historically, like, in the past couple of months of how T1's been playing, like, I should just be leaning towards TES to win this. But there's something about Faker at Worlds.
And then they proceed to lose to TES.
And they did proceed to lose. So with that being said, I'm going to kind of continue to follow the logic there is, like, I don't think that charm's there anymore. I don't think T1's, like, Worlds buff is activated right now. They're still a good team. They're still a Korean team.
Yeah.
They still have Faker. There's still clutch factor about them. But I don't think it's their year, guys. I really do think the time of T1 and Faker and their magical aura of being able to just dominate group stage or Swiss stage and then make it into bracket.
Yeah.
I don't think it's here anymore. I still think they're going to make bracket stage, but I think G2 is probably going to end up taking this.
I think there's actually a world where T1 doesn't make bracket, and that world involves G2 beats them on Friday, and then T1 draws BLG.
Oh man. Wait, T1 didn't.
Nope, they have not played. Oh wait, no, they did.
Yeah, they have.
And then T1 draws Hanwha Life after FlyQuest.
After we beat them, yep.
Yeah.
What?
Let's knock out.
No, but here's the thing, Notch.
I've got one more. They G2 beats them, and then Team Liquid finishes what they couldn't do at EWC.
Oh, the better timeline, the better storyline. I love this. I like this. Continue.
Team Liquid kicks out. And both G2 and TL qualify. FlyQuest probably loses to Hanwha Life, but then magically draws Weibo, who beat Fnatic, but Weibo's really bad, so we beat Weibo, and 3 Western teams get into quarters.
Sandy, you're such a storyteller. Oh, I don't know. It makes me feel so good.
And then FlyQuest draws G2. We beat G2, and we make semis. Easy.
Oh. Yeah, we need to make you official narrator of this storyline. I'm so down for it.
Riot needs to hire me to write their scripts. That's what.
Yes, I'm totally down. I'll send in a good word.
I'll absolutely still let Korea and China win Worlds every year, but I'll throw in a nice few NA semis, NA quarters here and there to keep the people.
Now hear me out. Oh my goodness.
Keep the people happy,
My God. Okay.
Keep the revolts down. So.
I thought I would be the one to spawn this crazy tangent. I was just going to say some shit about Reckless playing Faker and chess to keep him composed. That's it.
Oh,
I think you're forgetting that. They have the Reckless 6-man as just the vibes guy.
Well,
I don't know if you saw the clip.
What about Reckless as the secret EU saboteur? This is his time. This is his opportunity.
He sabotaged G2 once, he'll do it again.
Oh, Kyria mysteriously got sick overnight and can't play. Reckless has to sub in. Reckless, don't W in on Alistair. What are you doing? Reckless 015-0.
He was like, I was always there for you, EU. I was always there for you. Never forget.
His visa mysteriously gets magically denied by the Korean government. He returns to EU a triumphant hero.
Mission accomplished.
What in the world?
This is Sandy and I's true fanfic for this world. This is canon in our minds.
I'm just thinking like a small Freaky Friday happened between Sandy and I. This is
Nox's and I's Wattpad, except without all the
I thought I was going schizo later for what I'm like predicting, or like the crazy timeline just to make quarters. You topped it hardcore.
We're just getting ours out of the way, so for when you make your prediction, there's some true weight and gravitas to it to have something to compare to.
That's fair.
Yeah. I'm gonna seem pretty tame with what I'm saying could potentially happen in what I consider a best case scenario. Damn. Oh shit. Anyway. Yeah.
All right. I still owe you guys my one big thing. Oh man. Here's what I think it's gonna be. Or here's what my one big thing is. I am not impressed. I don't think any region has looked particularly dominant so far. I think even like the Gen G HLE series was still a little messy to me at times. It was a great series. It was really good. It was beautiful League of Legends, but it was not like, it was still a 2-1 on Gen G's side. My other one big thing is I think LNG are still fraudulent. I think they got a pretty lucky draw, TL into D plus Kia, and they got the BLG upset because anything can happen in best of ones, and they had to go up against D plus Kia in a best of 3, and it not too difficult on that day. So I think they're gonna get booty blasted in quarters. Is my one big thing.
Is it worth it to take the risk of promoting up via the 2-2 match just so you get the off chance of getting LNG?
Is that how that would work?
Yeah, because 1 and 2 get to pick. Well, 1 and 2 get to pick the teams that they want.
Wait. 1 and 2, like 1 and 2 seed?
So Genji and LNG will get to pick between the 6th, 7th, and 8th qualifying teams. So it'll be from the 2-2 match. That's how it was last year. They get to pick.
And then it's random otherwise?
I believe at that point, the 2-1 teams get to pick Well, I don't know how the actual pick selection works for the 2-1 teams,
you
but
mean the 3-1 teams get to
or the
pick?
3-1. Sorry, yes, the 3-1 teams.
But there would be like
So yeah, I don't.
3-1 teams, so.
Yeah, so I don't know how that would work, but I'm pretty confident in my memory from last year of the 3-0 teams getting to pick from the 3-2 teams.
I wonder if that's still the case. Huh, that's interesting.
Weird.
Huh.
I don't.
Yeah, we'll have to.
I'll pull up that format explainer in a minute. We'll figure it out.
Because let's see, Genji and JDG, and Genji picked BLG. Yeah, so Genji got BLG, who was 3-2, and then JDG got KT, who was also 3-2. So yes, that is definitely they. I don't know if they pick, but at least the 3-0 teams get the 3-2 teams.
Yeah, I think there's some very interesting scenarios that would allow both FlyQuest and TL to somehow magically make quarters.
So it is a draw. They do not get to choose, but they are pitted against the 3-2 record.
Okay, so it is randomized. So in this sense, then, is it worth then to be one of the 3-2 teams, hoping you draw LNG in
Absolutely
quarters?
not, because you will almost, if you're FlyQuest, you almost certainly will get Genji, and your tournament's over.
You're like, it's automatically weighted against you. It's
Yeah,
bound to happen. Just take the 3-1 and be on our way.
I'll play any other team in this tournament that is not Genji, because BLG does not look good. And Hanwha Life is the only other team I don't want to play besides Genji.
And
so
theoretically,
you want them to be on the same side of the bracket and us on the other one, so we can meet them in finals.
Yes, yeah, and lose gracefully. Yeah.
And theoretically, if we qualify 3-1, it's off of beating HLE. So
which would be yeah. I mean, and I know we got to get to some review of things in a second. So this will be my final crazy theory. TL plays GAM. That should be a win, right? TL is definitely better than Mad. But, TL looked really good against Pain today, is what I will say. It was
we're not going to get a TL match because it's going to take a while.
I thought it looked better than you didn't. Okay, he disagrees. All right.
Sorry. Yeah, we won't get into it, but I didn't think TL looked good.
Sure. TL probably beats GAM. We probably almost certainly lose to HLE. So we're both 2-2. Unless we draw each other, which would be the miracle to get an NA team into quarters. You probably are dealing with drawing one of Weibo, BLG, D plus Kia, which FlyQuest can't too, so maybe Team Liquid gets them, or G2/T1, right? Like for me, like let's say G2 does lose, you've got G2, Weibo, TL, and D plus Kia. That's a decent pool to pick from if you're TL, for TL you throw FlyQuest in there as well. That's a decent pool to pick from for a final best of 3 to make it to quarters. I'm not that's not terrible.
No, it's not. I think the big one is just you got to avoid the BLG draw.
Yeah, you have to avoid the BLG draw.
Well, don't worry. PSG is going to take care of that.
Oh yes, that's for sure. All right, we've done enough here. Let's talk about FlyQuest.
Yes,
FlyQuest Swiss review. It started with GAM.
With success.
It started with success. And success was had by FlyQuest in the first match. Follow that up with a loss to D plus Kia, and then a win over PSG Talon, avenging us at MSI. So far, FlyQuest has only played best of ones. Don't need to go over each game in depth, I don't think, but I do want to ask you guys what has stood out to you so far in these games.
Masu, man. Masu has just blown me away. He's just freaking incredible, especially for a rookie.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, both him and Jan, like both NA AD carries, man, I've been exceptionally proud of. But we're specifically Masu. I think his team fighting has been immaculate. His laning has been good. He's been a constant presence in all the games, always bringing agency to the team, always bringing a real carry threat. And maybe there's small stuff here and there that I maybe am not catching that he could improve upon against Worlds teams, but I cannot be asking much more of this man. He is doing everything I had ever hoped for and a little bit more. In my wildest imaginations in his first year at Worlds, I never thought he'd be performing at this level. I had high hopes that he would get there at one point, but the fact that he's already there, just like, I'm so happy for him and what he's able to show on stage.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, 4-0-4 in the win over GAM. Still positive KDA, even in the loss to D plus Kia, which frankly was a winnable game. That game was very winnable. 5-3-11 in that game, and then going up against PSG Talon. The thing that was most impressive to me about that game overall was just the patience from the team. Masu even talked about in his interview afterwards, like, they weren't too concerned that they were behind because they knew that they scaled. And so all they had to do was exactly what they did, which was not give up opportunities to PSG, wait to scale, and then Masu double quadra killed at the end.
It was crazy, man.
On the Kaisa, and closed the game out. And PSG Talon just did not have the damage to finish things out. So far I have been impressed by FlyQuest at Worlds. And like a big thing for me was before this tournament, I said for me success would be tying for 9th. Guess what? We are in a position where even if we proceed to lose the next 2 best of 3s, we will tie for 9th.
Yep.
And like, to me, we've already hit the success metric that I was asking for. So anything better than that is just gravy at this point. Like, making it to quarters is just gravy. So I'm already very happy with what we've shown. Obviously, I want more. So Masu absolutely stepping up. I feel like Quad has done well. He's played Orianna. His Syndra game was not great.
But that's also a good showmaker, though.
Right.
Which,
yeah.
like, I'll give some leeway there.
Right. And then the Cassiopeia game, I thought he had some really clutch moments.
I agree.
With Cass ults in that game. I was really impressed. I do want to ask you guys, inspired on the Ivern, this is seeming to be more and more of a comfort pick for him.
I mean, it really is. He's talked about it. We've seen it. Like, he has a really good win rate with him.
Yeah.
Currently, what is it? A 2-0 at Worlds with the Ivern pick. So, like, I think it's a champion that's just really good for him, and the play style we're able to roll into with it just works really well for us. There's a reason I put him as my crystal ball, and I'm hoping all of those wins are from Inspired.
Right. I think this is definitely like a comfort comp that we do look much better on. Wait for the scaling. Bwipo has still been a bit of a question mark for me. Did not have a good game against D plus Kia. Really questionable moments I felt in the PSG game. Where a couple times he was really limit testing, and he only got saved by the skin of his teeth and the Ivern shields and the redemptions,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
With the D plus Kia one is like, I give him a lot of grace with that, because something I talked about, like, the only thing that mattered to me that whole game for anyone was just the pack hunting from freaking Lucid, what was the support's name? Freaking Moham.
Wait.
Moham. I don't know what it is, but like the pack hunting from them, it didn't matter which side lane because they would switch it. If you were at the tier 2 turret at the wrong time, suddenly they were behind you. It just happened a lot. And so they like held Whippo off the wave for a long time. He eventually came back, kind of made it look like that didn't even happen. But then it was just like, once they got in the cycle of like, all right, we're ganking here. All right, we're ganking there. All right, we're ganking here. All right, we're ganking there. And it just made, like, side lane was just a death sentence for anyone who had the misfortune of pushing it. Right. And naturally, that would usually be Whippo because you'd rather sacrifice the top laner than your ADC in that repeated cycle, you know?
Yeah.
And so then the Darius pick is like, I'll admit, a bit questionable. It didn't really fit in well with the comp. I think the one way I can see this like really being a thing is just trying to kind of be more comfortable for the lane matchup, you know?
Okay.
Trying to out-sustain the Yone, trying to be able to use your like CC and the blood stacking to like see who like really wins that, you know?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I really see it kind of working for. And then if you are able to accelerate with that, you then become kind of a raid boss where if you have a couple items and you get a big queue in the middle of a team, it doesn't matter what's happened to you beforehand. Just unfortunately, didn't really get the chance to take off. Didn't really fit in there. And also, I think Yone is just too busted to counterpick. The only counterpick for Yone right now is the ban button. So, yeah.
Right.
So that's my thing for the DK game. And for PSG, I agree. There was a few moments where he was like a bit too hyphy for me.
Yeah.
But once you got past like the 20-something minute mark, I don't think that hyphy was like him being overconfident. I think it was just him knowing how thick he really was and how much he had to keep him alive. And like, you don't, with the way that Bwipo thinks about characters like Renekton in those situations is, he's not going to die. There's no world he dies. And even if he dies, by the time they get enough damage to kill him, they're going to be so low themselves that his team can just finish up the job.
Yeah.
He is not meant to survive those fights, except by the skin of his teeth. You know,
yeah,
he has a health bar.
Oh, I was going to say, but counterpoint, Curly. That gameplay gives me heart attacks, and I don't like it.
Well, that's tough, buddy. You ever tried playing top lane? That's kind of everything you do. Oh, man. But something I want to also talk about here is Busio's just been a Leona merchant this whole time.
It's true.
We have not given him anything else, and it's kind of funny to me. That's just a little aside.
No, I think that's a great point.
Aside from a few unfortunate ults in PSG, I think he's been doing pretty good with the Leona.
Yeah,
I don't know what you guys think.
There were a couple, like, I forget who it was. Maybe it was Vedius. There were a couple over-eager, like, maybe too soon engages, where he was dropping the Leona ult just like a hair too early without really any follow-up ready to go. However, I'm catching up on old podcasts. I was actually listening to the Hotline League episode right after LCS Finals today, catching up on that. And Nuke Duck on that show was talking about how, you know, last year, 2023, Busio, you know, was on a team where, you know, he was waiting for Double Lift to tell him what to do. And when you're waiting for somebody to tell you what to do, you're always going to react half a second too late. And so a big thing for him this year was learning how to have his own voice and make his own decisions. And I think you're seeing that now, where he is able to just go ahead, slam and engage, and trust his team to follow up. Does it always work? No. But would I rather him try than wait for his team and always be half a second or a second too late on the engage? Yeah, absolutely. I would much rather that happen. Nox, how about you? Anything standing out to you from the week?
For FlyQuest specifically?
Yeah, for FlyQuest specifically.
I think in general, the team's actually been on a semi-decent performance level. There's been some shaky stuff with Whippo, as Curly was kind of talking about, but he's also kind of fulfilling the role that he needs for the team. More than anything, I think Quad is really getting checked by some of the mid laners here at this tournament, and he's been holding his ground. He hasn't really been winning or anything like he was back in North America, and that's fine. That's expected. As long as he's not like flat out losing lane, which he's not, I'm kind of okay with it. And then I thought the bot lane's been doing a good job, and the lane swaps have been pretty smart from FlyQuest, I would say. In fact, I would really posture a statement of North America has probably had the best lane swaps this tournament, I think. Would you guys agree with that?
I'd say so.
I
Yes.
don't think that's a terrible. I don't think that's a bad take.
I think in general our execution on lane swaps. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like the other teams there's been some decent lane swaps from other teams too. But I think TL and Fly both have been the most consistent at it.
Yeah.
And have been in general the most consistent at like executing it well. So I've been kind of happy in that regard. So FlyQuest lane swaps, I've got to say I've been pretty happy with. I will be very curious to see how HLE handles it, or if we even try and initiate against HLE. We'll see.
What are some weaknesses that you guys have seen that we need to shore up if we're gonna have any hope of beating HLE? But I mean, beyond that, just the making it to quarters at all, beating, presuming we lose to HLE, yes, beating whoever we draw in that 2-2 match.
I really think that it is just if Whippo, it's mainly the solo laners, but I'm mainly eyeballing Whippo, because especially that D plus Kia game, the Darius, like I thought there was some critical mistakes made, like growing into the bush when he should have known that there was multiple members there, so on and so forth. Even calling for the Darius, like I understand that it was supposed to be good into the Yone that Dorn had flexed top, and it very much caught FlyQuest by surprise. Yeah. I would honestly rather, I said this back in North America, I said it during playoffs, I said just put the man on comfort. Like I get that there are counterpick options, but I think in the current state of the game where you have lane swaps that are avoiding dangerous matchups for the first couple minutes of the game or certain periods of the game, I would rather just don't even worry about counter matchups, because you're not really getting the chance to play those out all that often. Just put them on comfort and put them on things that are actually going to have use in the game later on and be able to have agency for the team. Yeah. So that's kind of like my big shtick. And I'm going to have to caution Quad, like, he held his ground versus Showmaker, but he was not pretty looking. Right. I am going to need Quad to step it up a little bit too. But that's more of a side kind of thing. Overall, I would say in general, I think Inspired and the bot lane have been holding their own and been doing pretty good in terms of the performance. It has been very much one note, I would say. I think doing the exact things that they want to do. And I think a team like HLE is going to be able to maybe punish those tendencies and maybe those one notes, so to speak. And so I really hope that coming into this match on Thursday, that they are prepped to be pushed to the limit and that they are willing to adapt in how they need to.
Curly, how about you? Anything that you think needs to be fixed up before Thursday?
I don't know if it's like fixed up. I don't know if it's fixed up as much as we're playing Thursday. But I don't know if it's fixed up as much as accounted for is the inherent drawback of the style that Inspired makes the team thrive with. The isolation of the laners is just something we need to kind of either work against or just play around a little bit better than we have been, because that, the pack hunting from DK was like the biggest thing, and then even the shaky early game from Quad on cast where he got kind of just ganked by PSG. Like it's just a result of how we play the game around Inspired's like power farming. Yeah. And it's like fine, because eventually in cases like in the case of PSG, it worked out real well for us in the long run. In the case against GAM, we just kind of played clean overall. Like I want us to play like we did against GAM, because we've shown where we can account for that and just have really clean play. I don't know whether it was just an inherent skill gap or if we were so prepared and respecting GAM, and then everyone else was just kind of like, oh shit, we've got this much time to prepare for it. You know, I don't know what it is, but yeah, I just want us to account for that playstyle a little bit better, because that's really, I want to say, the major weakness. Because once we got Masu up and running, he's really good. The team's gotten a lot better about not really inting like at Baron or making bad macro calls late game. Like sometimes they're still a bit sus here and there, but we've gotten rid of a lot of our demons from the summer split, I would say. And so it's really just coming down to being able to elevate what we are good at, you know? That's what I kind of want to see. And then also, if only Whippo could play Poppy, because Poppy would have been great in that DK game, literally getting value off of every single champion. But that's just a personal aside that has nothing to do with the future. I just want to plug Poppy. Great champion. Anyway.
No, I think that's all good.
That's yeah.
No, I think that's very fair. I think for me, yeah, the big thing is, like, it's all well and good when you're playing PSG to say, like, hey, we scale, just don't give them any opportunities. There are teams that will just take the opportunity. They're not going to play like PSG and, you know, let you scale up and win at 44 minutes.
Those teams are BLG and Weibo Gaming.
Yeah. So, you know, can't just rely on that in order to get through. I am a little worried that, like, our biggest successes are on the, oh, we scale for late, guys, kind of comps. Especially when there is a meta here that, you know, some games can end very quickly. And off, like, single team fights. You know, Korea and Chinese teams are very good at winning and then ending, you know, with 20 seconds left on death timers, right? So, you know, if there's another style of comp that we feel very comfortable on, might be time to bust it out. If not against HLE, then in that final best of 3, for sure. All right, let's look ahead. Now we already did a little bit, but we're gonna do a little bit more. Previewing.
Where I'm gonna look like the crazy one now.
Previewing the rest of Swiss. All right, Curly, lay it on us. What's your
all right?
What's your crazy take here? Again, reminder: HLE and Fly play Thursday, second match of the day. We've also got D+ and Top, G2 and T1, BLG and PSG, Weibo and Fnatic, TL and GAM. First 3 matches are qualifiers to quarters. Final 3 are eliminator matches. So there it is. Curly, take it away. What do you got?
All right. So the schizo, the absolute craziest best case scenario for us, that is not us winning on Thursday. Like, in the event we lose, we're gonna turn our heads to the lower bracket first. PSG upset. We upset BLG. We cannot face them due to the rematch rules. All right? Pool shrinks. GAM Esports beat TL. Sorry, guys. It had to happen. And so now that's another team that we can't face due to rematch rules. Damn. DK lose to Top Esports. We're back on this side. That is now 3 potential opponents that are just off the map. And then no matter how the other games go, you can't, like, you know, that you're not going to force a rematch because of who's played who. And assuming T1 beat G2, I'm fine playing G2 because, damn, I love NA versus EU. It's really fun. And then if Fnatic somehow pull off the upset against WBG, that means Fnatic is now the only other team, meaning we are guaranteed NA versus EU, meaning we are guaranteed to get to quarterfinals because there's no way we lose to EU. And then how good would it be for Bwipo to beat his former team to get to quarterfinals? That would be crazy. You know? Or he beats G2, which is his arch nemesis from being on Fnatic in the LEC. It's like, it's a great time to be Bwipo in this scenario. Now, granted, that's my schizo theory of what would be the best case for us.
You're sounding like Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia right now. Like, no, I have this wall.
I have more realistic. I have more realistic predictions. And I'm actually very content with how I think things are going to pan out, because realistically, I think BLG should beat PSG Talon, and we have not faced BLG yet, so that's an option. Realistically, I think that WBG is going to beat Fnatic, so now that's 2 LPL teams in the pool. In the event that DK beats Top Esports, damn, that's tough. That looks like we're gonna face a LPL team, because the only other, or like, and then if G2 somehow beats T1, that means, damn, we've got a lot of powerful teams up in here in GAM Esports, because I actually do think GAM is going to beat TL. I've predicted it. It's 2-1. It's going to happen. I believe in GAM Esports. It's just how it is. But either way, I don't really see much impact from the TL GAM game on us, because either we avoid a tiebreaker or we just potentially have a rematch. But I'm okay with how everything pans out, because number one, we've made the minimum that all of us set for this, of making it to that 5th round, of making it, you know, time for 9th place, potentially going for bracket stage. And I would rather, like, as a fan, would I like to make it period? Yes. But I'm okay with having to do it against a harder team, and even if we bow out, because if we beat Top or T1 or WBG or BLG, like, if we beat those teams to get in at the last chance, that really does prove that we deserve to be there. Because some people were like talking about how easy our early bracket was, or at least how we've lucked out to stay in this long, getting PSG and GAM, and it's like, yeah, sure, I guess. And so, like, to be able to prove that, like, hey, we deserve to be here by facing the LCK and the LPL, or at least the LCK, we haven't gotten the LPL yet. Like, I would like that a lot. And so I'm okay with however this plans out. I honestly don't have any real preferences, aside from the fact that I just like NA versus EU for matchups in the last round.
Nice. I like it. Nox, how are you feeling?
I think for the most part, I'm outside of G2 versus T1. I think everything else is kind of looking to go to chalk.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting Top to beat DK. I'm expecting HLE to beat us. I'm expecting G2 to beat T1. I do think that PSG will take a game off of BLG, but I do think BLG will take it 2-1. I think Weibo's probably honestly going to just roll over Fnatic. I don't have any faith in Fnatic. They do not look good. I'm sorry. I'm actually, unironically, a little nervous for TL. There's something, man. There's something in the water. GAM's feeling themselves right now, and TL did not look good, in my opinion, today versus Pain Gaming. So I still am going to predict TL to win, because I know logically this team is good. I know this team can absolutely be fighting for top 8 in this tournament. But the past day or so, the past couple of games, I don't know if they got their confidence shattered versus Weibo or what, because they should have won that game. But today looked bad, and I'm a little nervous for them. But I'm still going to give it to them 2-0. But I won't be surprised if something bad happens. So I think that's, in general, that should be all the teams. So yeah, that is all the matchups. So that's kind of my rundown.
No, look, I believe in 2 things at Worlds: GAM Esports' ability to perform and TL's ability to not. Just saying. Sorry,
your words, not mine, Curly. Your words, not mine.
I think, here's what I think. You know, TL, they went up against LNG and Weibo. And, like, I know I've said Weibo is not good, but I think I'm hopeful that beating Pain today was a, like, big motivator and gave them a lot of energy. Like, hey, look, you can win. And it wasn't like, oh, we lost, or we made it, you know, it was a 2-1, right? We lost a game to them. It was a 2-0 at the end of the day, right? It wasn't the cleanest. It was still messy. But still a 2-0. And I think, I think nerves are really getting to them. I don't know if you guys saw the clip from TL socials of Spawn talking to Core right after the game. And he's got some harsh feedback, it's...
Oh, he was ripping into him.
Yeah, well, and he wasn't just ripping into Core. He was, ripping into the whole team, but he was, speaking to Core. Because I think Core knows, what, the issues. He was seeing them. And whatnot. I feel like this was an important win for Team Liquid to get them some confidence back. And confidence,
hopefully.
Confidence, I think, is huge, especially at Worlds. And I think getting that confidence back, I think that they will beat GAM. I think it might be a 2-1, but I think that they'll beat them. I do think Weibo will beat Fnatic. I don't have hope for Fnatic. I just don't think that they're performing. BLG should beat PSG. HLE should beat Fly. The ones that I'm kind of toss-uppy on are the G2T1 and the DK Top Esports. It probably will be Top Esports, but then I think it's just such a coin flip for me on G2T1. It literally depends on what versions of each team shows up on the day. So that's something I'm going to have to hold on to predict until I get a better vibe down the road later this week. We will not know. We will have our next show after all of this, so we will not be able to discuss FlyQuest's round 5 opponent on Sunday. If we do lose to HLE and the pool is, let's presume it's, let's presume BLG wins, right? And we can't play PSG again. Probably Weibo, TL, can't play Damwon Kia again, right? So it's Weibo, TL, and then the loser of G2 and T1. Out of those 3, I feel like it's winnable. Where do you guys land? If it comes down to TL, Weibo, and let's just say G2 for the sake of argument. To me, that's a winnable group of teams.
Oh yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
What would you guys put? I'd probably put 2-1 on that matchup, no matter who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd say
it's right in that range.
I'd say how about this? If G2 beats T1, then I would say FlyQuest can beat T1. That's my take. If G2 beats T1, then I say FlyQuest can do it. I think it would still be a 2-1. But I think any of those teams that we draw, TL, Weibo, or literally, we beat GAM, we beat Fnatic, we beat TL, we probably beat Weibo. Can't play PSG again. I think we can beat G2. I think we can beat T1. Can't play Damwon plus again. We probably, unfortunately, do lose to Top Esports in my best guess. So I think
I'm inclined to agree with you there.
I think the paths are good. Obviously, you want to win against Hanwha here and just cement that 3, 4, 5 slot. But I think the paths are good. Am I crazy? Am I just
No, I agree with you
on this?
No, I would agree. I think the overall odds of us getting a good 2-2 team, very, very respectable. I would have hope that it could happen. But at the end of the day, you also got to be prepared for worst case scenario, kind of like what happened just now when we drew HLE. So I am hoping, and I think we have every right to hope for a good draw because the odds are slightly stacked in our favor for at least a competitive matchup. Maybe not necessarily a favorable one, but a competitive matchup.
The odds are ever in our favor, All right. Is there anything else we need to say about Worlds before we touch on a couple other quick FlyQuest things?
It has been a banger Worlds.
Yeah.
I went through, so in our Discord, if you're not in our Discord, I do a little catch-up channel for recommendations on matches of what you should watch, what you should watch as highlights, what you should just skip. Just because sometimes the timings are a little early in the morning for some of us, sometimes we're just busy at work, whatever it may be. So I go through and I give a little ranking of what, like, hey, this is watchable, this is skippable, this is highlightable, whatever it may be. I went through, I'm pretty sure all of the Worlds, play-ins included, I only have like 4 skip matches out of everything. And this is per game, not even series. Like, it is all watchable and highlightable, which is very impressive because a lot of times at MSI and old formats and Worlds, you'd have a lot of terrible games that were just like, don't even bother, skip this. And so this year, it has just been awesome. All the games have been very, like, maybe not always high quality, but very entertaining.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. This has been a pretty good World so far. I
love the time zone too.
Oh yeah, time zone's good. I'm hoping to see a little bit more evolution in the meta, but I am enjoying seeing the Yone so prevalent. I think that is very fun to me so far.
It is very fun, but that shit needs nerfed. I'm not gonna lie. It is very fun. I enjoy watching it, but it needs a little tap.
It does need a tap. That I can agree with for sure. All right, let's talk about something completely different. We do need to mention it. ESL Challengers Atlanta 2024 FlyQuest Counter-Strike. We are shouting them out here at the end of the show. As I get our title here ready.
They had a heck of a tournament, man.
They did. Do you want to talk about it a little bit for us?
Yeah, so granted, this is an A-tier tournament. It's not an S-tier tournament. Although there were still some notable names here that I've seen at other S-tier tournaments. Bet Boom being one, Big being another, and I think Saw is probably the one other really notable one that I recognize. Yeah. I see M80 as an org was there, but that was like a local invite, like just that they were sponsoring in that time frame. And so, FlyQuest came in, got placed in Group A, played against Bet Boom first round, 13-3 them. Nice, cool, nice easy win. Played Saw the second match in the winners match, 13-9 them. Cool, took first place in the group. Awesome, you love to see it, right?
Yeah.
From there, playoffs start, 14 playoffs, playing against Wildcard, who I guess is a North American. Well, it's not. It doesn't even look like a North American team. It looks like it's just a bunch of hodgepodge guys who qualified via North American qualifier. But the point is, played against Wildcard, 2-1 them. I don't really know what the exact score line. Actually, I do. 13-11 on Nuke, lost Dust 2 9-13, and then won Anubis 13-3. So been kind of dominating on Anubis, which is my understanding. That's kind of one of FlyQuest's best maps. So good to see that. And then they ran into the big guy, Big, pun aside, sorry.
Right.
But they ran into Big in the finals, and this is a German team who's been pretty solid as well, as far as my understanding. Their ESL world ranking is fairly high, and so they're actually a pretty good team. And FlyQuest has actually ran into them before, I think at ESL Pro League, if I remember correctly, the most recent one. And so FlyQuest ran into them, and I think they beat them there too. And so it was good to see the rematch. They took that one 2-1 as well. And the scoreline breakdown on this one, if I can get it open, was 13-10 on Ancient. They lost in overtime on Vertigo, 14-16, and then cleaned it up on Dust 2, 13-9. And that would end up giving FlyQuest CS their very first victory at a major tournament. I don't know. Is the terminology correct on that? Are A-tier tournaments majors? Technically, not majors, but are they still a major tournament, so to speak?
I don't know if it's a major tournament. Like, I think Pro League would be considered a major. If I understand correctly.
I don't know.
It definitely is going to help them in the world's rankings. Right now, I think they're ranked
21st. Which means we punched up because BLG or Big is 18th. So
Actually,
we're in CS now, Curly. We're not in league.
It did. Yeah, they
My bad.
were before the tournament. They were at 25, and so winning the tournament boosted them up to 21. So not like a huge deal, right? But definitely, impactful. To put them further up. For reference, like two of the teams that were in this tournament, M80 and Big. M80 is number 18 and Big is 20th on the HLTV rankings, right? So Bet Boom being number 28. So like some teams that are right around that range for them in the world rankings, and to come out on top is impressive. Actually, Saw, which was another team at this tournament, is ranked number 11th in the world. So that was also an impactful win for them. So, or for FlyQuest to take to beat out the number 11 team in the world. So
I actually misread that. They are only ranked 20th, so they're actually only one ahead of us, and they were 24th before this.
yeah,
So we moved up together.
yes, yeah, slightly just above. As some things fade off of FlyQuest's ranking, though, probably we will see. We could potentially see, as they get better, of course, or as they place better, like they've got some smaller things that'll probably fade off in relevance. As long as they continue performing well. Like they finished 21st to 28th in Pro League Season 20, which is not amazing, but that's got a lot of relevance right now for them. So as that goes down in terms of recent performance relevance, their ranking might get a little bit better. So yeah, big congrats to them. $100,000 prize pool for that tournament, by the way. So they walked away with 50K.
Big.
So 10K each.
Some good cash.
Well,
Yeah.
probably some of that's going to FlyQuest the org as well. So but
Give $1 to Papa Smithy.
Yeah. Nice a nice little payday for them.
The one thing I did want to add really quick is apparently this is the first time an Australian or Oceanic team has won an international tournament in CS since 2017.
Dang.
So it's been 7 years since the last time the boys have taken the championship stage and won.
Dang, that is crazy. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't believe they are. Yeah, they are not at IEM Rio, which just started today, from what I can tell.
That would have been a hell of a turnaround to go from Atlanta to Rio in like under 24 hours.
Yeah, that absolutely would have been a lot. But
You just won a tournament. Now go to Brazil.
Yeah, no, yeah. And that winner of that tournament qualifies for IEM Katowice 2025, so which is definitely a big deal. All right, final thing, Knox, you were talking about this earlier as well before the show, but I know we had a little bit of a Fly Fighters update. Can you enlighten the good people on what's been going on there?
Yes. Oh wait, I had the page right here and it's gone. Crap.
Check the browser history.
I never opened the tab.
Oh no!
Hold on, I'm scrolling. Because I want to make sure that I say it correctly. Because otherwise that'll be a little awkward if I don't. So Razzo, our local Fly Fighters for Guilty Gear Strive, ended up also taking first place at Dreamhack. And so had to give them a little bit of a shout out because I think they were the last of the Fly Fighters that hasn't gotten a win yet on the stage. And now officially with Razzo's win, that is all Fly Fighters having won a championship trophy of some sort this year since being picked up by FlyQuest. So congrats to Razzo, and honestly congrats to FlyQuest for honestly a all-star lineup of Fly Fighters or for the fighting game scene, because all of them have championship trophies of some sort now, whether it be S-tier tournaments or A-tier tournaments. So that is freaking awesome.
Yeah, that's super great. Definitely a huge year for FlyQuest. I think I saw you say somewhere looking forward to doing the end of year recap episode. We're going to have a lot to talk about That's gonna be a big episode.
It's gonna be a marathon.
That's gonna be a marathon episode for sure.
Oh my goodness, we might have to start that one at 7 p.m. If
yeah, just to get out of here on time. All right. Excuse me. Any final things? Any final topics before we close out the evening here?
I don't think so. It's a good time for esports right now, man.
It's a great time.
Not talking about the economy, but like the actual gameplay. It's been fun.
Actually, wait. Did we get to talk about the Worlds Initiative? Did we do that last week?
We didn't.
You know
do you
what?
want to
We
talk
did
about it
not.
a little bit?
Yeah. So like the Worlds Initiative from FlyQuest is freaking awesome. Where it's just for every minute of play, which I wonder what that's at now. We'll probably get a tally tomorrow or Thursday. They're donating, what was it, $3 to like local initiatives. And then on top of that, like with everything that's happening with Hurricane Helen, I don't know. But with the hurricane down south, it's like they also did just spur the moment matched like their currently raised funds and sent that towards, I believe it was either North Carolina or just people affected by it. So it's like,
cool.
Like the wholesome supporting like initiative side of FlyQuest is really, really kind of like showing itself. And I was reminded that they did have an initiative during MSI. And it just feels like it's so long ago that I shamefully had forgotten about it. But like it's a really, I want to say though, this is the coolest and potentially most directly impactful initiative we've ever seen from FlyQuest, because it's like everything in the past has been kind of ambiguous entities. Like it's all great initiatives, but you're not really able to see the end result too much of what they do.
Yeah.
Whereas it's like, all right, here's this specific place in this specific city that is doing this thing, and we are giving them money to do more of that thing. Like I believe in Berlin, everything's going to this really awesome community garden. And if you go find it on Twitter, there's more about it there. And so it's just really cool. And I'm excited to see what happens when they make it to Paris and when they make it to London, because they're doing it whether or not the team is in the tournament, which is the other really cool part about it. A lot of previous initiatives in this era of FlyQuest have been tied directly to the team. And now it's just tied to what happens in general. So yeah, wholesome FlyQuest.
Wholesome, good old wholesome FlyQuest. No, that's great. Thank you, Curly. Appreciate the update on that one. All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into yet another great episode of Flight Check. Swiss continues to roll forward Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and the final day of limbs and quals to quarters being Sunday. You're going to want to tune in on Twitter to our account, specifically. Only our account. For all of our...
No one else.
No one else.
Mute them all.
For all of our instant reactions and thoughts, you can catch the show at Flight Check Crew, myself at Santos DB, Nox at Nox War with 2 R's, and Curly at Curly_QQ_. Do make sure to hop and get hype into the Flight Check Discord as well. All kinds of esports discussion and otherwise taking place in there. And if you missed any part of the episode, the VOD is going to be up on YouTube tonight or tomorrow morning. If you're watching that and you want to catch the show live, we do broadcast the episode, usually every Monday night, usually at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here at twitch.tv/FlightCheckCrew. Nox, any final notes, shoutouts, or plugs before we wrap up?
I just a little shout out to Lee, good Flight Check person in our Discord who I just, thinking of you, buddy. I know, it's been a couple days for you is all I'll say. So just keeping you in our thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a great shout out for sure. Curly, how about you?
I'm gonna do a huge shout out to my collegiate Valorant team for having a very amazing 2-0 series on Saturday, going 13-3, absolutely obliterating their opponents, and really just kind of having good vibes. It was really funny to sit on those comms. They was some of the most chaotic comms I have ever heard. And so yeah, shout out to them. Really doing good, and I'm very excited for their season. And then yeah, that's That's what I got going for me.
Very nice. I'm gonna give a shout out to I don't know. I don't really have any good shout outs this week. You know what? I'm gonna give a shout out to myself, actually. I got up at 5 a.m. this morning and went to the gym before going to work.
Nice.
Which was a really tough effort on a Monday morning. So I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back for that one. Tomorrow, I'm going to sleep in just a little bit more, but instead go for a run when I wake up. That is the goal. So trying to get my health stuff done in the morning instead of when I'm tired and getting home from work. That
makes sense.
All right. Our goal is to be back next week so that we can discuss how the rest of Swiss went and preview, hopefully, a FlyQuest matchup in quarterfinals. But for now, we'll just say stay safe out there, bite your teeth, and don't forget to hit the head on the nail. And we'll see you all very, very soon. Adios, everybody.
Have a good one, guys.
Peace, y'all.